Hey y'all, so as promised, I am going to go over this beautiful new Lisa Eldridge palette. This safari themed palette is absolutely gorgeous. This is one of my favorite kinds of palettes as far as like the color theme. It just, I've got red hair, I've got pale skin. These kind of colors are going to go really, really well with my skin and hair. And also, I have never tried any of Lisa Eldridge's eyeshadows, and I really have been curious this whole time about her formula and why people love it so much. So I'm going to do swatches, and I am going to show you how I got this look today. We're going to do a couple different looks on the eyes. This is actually an amalgam of two different looks, and then I married them together to make a third and final look. I actually really like this. Enough talk, let's get into the swatches, let's get into the looks, and then we will also go over the lipsticks. Now I am wearing one of the new lipsticks. There was actually 3 lipsticks and I got 2 of them. The third one was a red, and I like a good red, but I'm not going to spend that kind of money on a red that I'm just not going to wear that much. However, this color, I'm going to wear this a lot. This is gorgeous. I love it. So hang in there because I'm going to show you the 2 lipsticks that I got and dupes. And at the end of this, I'm going to show you an absolute pile of eyeshadows that you might already own in case you were worried about spending the money on this one, or that you might want to get instead that have more choices and cost a whole lot less. So there will be a whole dupe section at the end, just in case you're like, well, I like it, but I am not spending that kind of money. So, all right, let's get into the swatches. Okay, let's start with the mattes. This is a very new shadow formula to me, and on initial application, I was super disappointed. Although I will say, I was a little bit prepared for this because I had seen other creators talk about this. But look at how very thin and light these mattes apply. This was something that I was just not, I was really worried it wasn't going to look good on the eyes, but it turns out it actually does. And it allows you to layer and get either a very, very light look that is easy to wear, or you can build it up and get a heavier application, which is what I like. Now these shimmers did not disappoint. These are beautiful shimmers. That pale green shimmer is one of my favorite colors in the world. I have other palettes with it in it, but I really, really like that. The mid-tone shimmer that I just put on, it's good, it's nice. And this was actually, out of the shimmers, I thought this one was going to be really punchy and strong, and it's really not, which does make it more wearable, but I was almost a little disappointed that it wasn't like an obnoxious gold shimmer. But this is a different kind of formula, and I'm looking forward to really getting to try these on. So there's the initial swatches. It's only a 6-pan palette. It is not that much. Let's go ahead and get into the looks I was able to create with this. Okay, so on this side, we are going to do the green look. You can obviously mix all these together, which is what I did in the end, but I'm going to start with just green on this side because I think that's how a lot of people wear it. This is Sahara. This is that khaki green, and it is spreading. I do have to sort of build it up. I think a lot of the things I've seen, they put it on the whole lid. I don't feel comfortable doing that. That doesn't look good on me. This is Kristen. Oh my gosh, I can't read that. Christina. And this is one of my favorite colors. That is absolutely gorgeous. With one swipe, it is beautiful. I'm gonna go ahead and do 2 swipes because more is more, and it is my favorite. And let's go ahead and just line with Acacia, which is really good. I do like, there's not a lot of fallout with these. I do have my eyeshadow tapes on because I wasn't sure before I actually used it, but I do find that it's a dry enough formula that you really don't have a ton of fallout. So on the other side, let's go ahead and do a brown look. I know it's a little boring, but I think this is how people are gonna wear it. So I'm gonna use Dunes, which is that very light sort of orangey brown matte. Oh my gosh. So you guys, I just went and got Botox, and I can't lift anything, and that was a mistake. So you're going to be getting sort of a hooded eyes tutorial. Yeah, we dropped my brow too much, so it'll go away, but yeah, it's pretty low right now. Anyway, so it's making my eyeshadow application a little hard and it looks a little funky, but just ignore that. I'm sure some of you already have hooded eyes and you're like, hey, fine. Okay, so I'm using the shimmer brown on this side. It does not have as much impact as I would like it to, but it's fine. So I'm going to go ahead and add the gold to see what I can get out of it, since I'm kind of staying with like a more warm look over on this side. And this is where, you know, as I'm shoving it in my big hood there, I'm trying to get something out of it, and I am quickly realizing that that's not what this palette is good for. So I'm gonna go ahead and line with Acacia again. I do really like this as a nice subtle liner. Sometimes if there's too dark, they fall out and then they're hard to use. So I'm gonna go ahead and bring back some of that lightness to the center of my eye, especially when you've got a deep hood like I do right now. It really helps to keep this area light. The darker you go, the more everything looks closed in. So I tend to do that anyway, just for my anatomy, but it's particularly bad right now. I wanted to see if spray wetting this would make it more intense, and not really. It just looks thicker, so I don't think that that really helped my situation. I'm actually going to go ahead and take in my Morphe. It's like a eyeshadow sort of like primer base, and I'm just going to sort of almost start over a little bit on this side and see if I can build up the color. So, you know, I'm bringing in that warm, basically redoing everything that I just did to see if I can get a little more intensity and just make it look better. Boy, I cannot believe how much it has dropped on that side now that I'm looking at it as I'm editing. Anyway, so yes, redoing everything, same steps. And I will say, so this gold, now that I'm going over a little bit lighter of a base and a little more like, something almost like a primer underneath it, it's getting a little more intense, which I think is really pretty. So let's take those tapes off. Let's see what we're working with. Okay, I went ahead and cleaned up under my eyes. Didn't want to show you, that's boring. This is a new Kiko big eyeshadow stick that I'm really enjoying. It is like this sort of like beautiful green, but it's sort of a metallic, almost black green, but it's perfect for this kind of look. And I always love using that underneath my actual liner. Now, because that has a little bit of stick to it, I'm gonna go ahead over with the two darker eyeshadows and see if I can intensify that a little bit. It does work, you know, I'm just playing. So, you know, this is what I do whenever I first try any kind of eyeshadow palette, is I just go ahead and start playing and see how it works. Let's see. So I used the Sahara on that side, the green, and then the Acacia on this side, since we are trying to keep, you know, brown on that side and green on this side. But I also put a little bit of Acacia on the green side. Just, you know, I'm really trying to see if I can build up this look. So that's where you see me just keep going in. I think a lot of people aren't going to do this, but I did want to see if this palette is able to do a more intense look, or if it really is just for like subtle looks. And I do think that you can use it for both. So let's go ahead and use my eyeliner, my liquid eyeliner, just to give myself a little bit more of a base and a line and definition. And I put my mascara on, and here's the two different looks. I really like the green look. I think that is a great and unbelievably simple everyday look that I'm actually going to use this for. The look on the right side is also gorgeous because it kind of picks up the color of my hair, but it was a lot of work to get there to get that intensity. Okay, so as you can see, it is a beautiful palette. It's just very, very expensive. So when you have something very, very expensive, I do like to find dupes. As much as I love this and I think it is beautiful luxury makeup, this is not going to be something that everybody's going to want to spend this kind of money on, especially for such a small palette. I mean, it is luxury, like beautiful packaging, beautiful formula, really easy to wear. That said, it's really expensive. Okay, so let's start getting into, real quick, we're gonna go over all of the dupes I found, and there's actually quite a few. Let's get into it. Okay, let's start with one of my favorite palettes of all time. If you like green and khakis and, you know, that sort of kind of feel, which you're gonna be the kind of person who's interested in this, right? The Cosmic Brushes Undergrowth palette, I think, is one of my absolute favorite palettes if you like grungy green. And this palette does have most of the colors that you see in the Lisa Eldridge palettes. This one, I think, and one of the reasons I like it is you have more olivey, more brown, and more shimmers. So for me, this is a better deal because the Cosmic Brushes palettes, I mean, you get a lot here. It's a really nice formula, and these shimmers are just absolutely gorgeous, and you have that same feel to it, that very khaki-ish feel, but lots of different kinds of greens and golds, and this is just more versatile with a lot more shimmers. And I love shimmer. If you know me, I love shimmer. So this is going to be something that for me, I'm gonna prefer. Now, if I'm gonna be traveling, I'm probably not gonna take this big old palette. That's where something like this is probably better. This also has more color impact. It's a more pigmented formula in general. For me, I would prefer this one. Okay, let's move on. Next, who knew? Like, I randomly found this on Amazon last fall, and I was like, oh, well, okay. This is Profusion Cosmetics, and this is beautiful. This is their Harvest palette, and these have sort of a different, it's like a squishy kind of formula, but very impactful, very easy to use, and just so pretty. Lots of duochromes in here and a lot of the exact same colors that you're gonna find in the Lisa Eldridge. This one's $10. So like, if you already have this or if you're interested in that kind of look, you're gonna be able to get a lot of the same looks out of this palette. So I don't know. This is like one of those sneaker palettes. I had no idea. I really love this palette, and I love how easy it is to use. Like, these shimmers, they're really nice. They're like very balmy, and I love just sort of like, you can just put a little bit on and you get that very like refined sort of like not glittery shimmer, but like balmy shimmer. It's $10, so at any rate, this one's definitely worth checking out if you like that color story. Like, either way, honestly, this is great. And I use the bright orange and some of the brighter colors in this I will use as a pop of color because it really holds its pigment. So this is great. Okay. Now, this is an obvious comparison. I know other people have made it because it's a really close dupe. This is one of my favorite palettes as well, especially from Natasha Denona. It's because of these beautiful shimmery greens. I don't use all of the colors in here, but it does have these lovely pops of color that are actually useful. This I don't think I've ever used, but that color just doesn't look right on me. It's like lemon yellow, and I have like no use for that. But everything else, these, again, it gives you more of those sort of mid-tone green shimmers with just slightly different colors that are a little bit almost like duochromes. Really refined kind of, I mean, it's Natasha Denona, so you're paying big money for it, but like, I mean, like, these cost pretty close to the same, but you get more stuff in this one. So like, if you had to choose, I would go with this one, unless you're looking for something to travel with again. But yeah, these are really close dupes, as you can see from the swatches. So if you already have this, and you were like, ooh, I don't know, you don't need that. No, I mean, you have a better version of it, I think, already. So okay, here's another one that is a longtime favorite of mine. This is the ABH Cosmo palette, and this is missing the sort of this brown, this sort of orangey brown here, but it's got everything else, and it is a very shimmery, beautiful, soft formula. Most of the ABH formulas are some of my absolute favorites. I think they're just gorgeous, and she always does such beautiful, interesting sort of color stories. Well, this is kind of like an abbreviated version of this, and this is like a pastel version of that, but they're all except for that one color, they're very, very close, and it gives you some different options. I never have really understood this pop of purple in here, but you know what? Artistic license, that's fine. So if you already have this, you do kind of already have a lot of what's in here. It's just slightly different formula. This is going to be definitely more fallout, more punchy, more soft and loose, but also just really like the kind of shimmers that just go, and I mean, they go on like butter, and you get a lot of payout for it. That's one of the reasons I really like these. Whereas these are much more subtle, but you can build them up. So this is another one. Okay, now this one's kind of fun because I was like, oh yeah. So this is an old ColourPop one. It has since been discontinued. However, funny story, I ordered something off of Amazon for about $10 that said it was a Kyda, Kyda palette, and I was like, that looks exactly the same. All they showed online was this, and when it showed up, I actually am returning it right now. I didn't even dig into it. When it showed up, I was like, you know, like this. I was like, that's an old ColourPop one. So Kyda does it. Any of these ones that are, I think, coming from China, they do dupe some stuff legally or illegally. I'm guessing it's a little illegal, but you can't get this anymore, except for if you order the Kyda one online and it shows up, it's the same thing. So if you wanted to get this ColourPop one and you can't find it anywhere else, I will go ahead and put a link to the Kyda one that is $10 and is the same. And this is a solid formula, and it is pretty much the same, plus some extra. I mean, look at that. This was one of the better dupes, actually. Like, really, really good. So, I mean, I know it's kind of sussy makeup and you're not supposed to be doing that kind of stuff, but if you already have this, then, you know, because this was one of the popular ones back in the day, then you already have like a pretty good version of this. Or if you wanted to dip your toe into sussy waters, then you can get this for $10 off of Amazon still. It's just not technically ColourPop. So, but it's a really, really close match, as you can see. Okay, now this Milani one was one of the first ones that actually came to mind. I was like, wait, there's a Milani one that looks a lot like this, and it is a 6-panner. The difference being it's got just like a matte sort of bone color, and this one does not. And so, but the other colors are very similar. This one's not a straight dupe, but you can get a lot of the same looks. This is like a very light application version of it, and this, like the green, is more of like an evergreen, you know, it's a heavier green. You're not going to get this same lighter look unless you go very, very light with it. This has a few shimmers that aren't shimmers in this one. Overall, you get a lot of the same feeling, and this has a little more color impact. This is great. It's definitely going to give you the same feel as this for, you know, $10, $15. I don't know. You know, you find these in different places and they're always different prices just because Amazon or CVS or wherever is doing slightly different, you know, pricing. But this one you might already even have, and it is really close. So another good drugstore option. Okay, now I had to go digging for this one, but I saw it online. I was like, wait a second. So you could still buy this. This is one of the old Physician formula one. This was actually a really great, very soft formula. It's like a little, it's that, their butter, you know, kind of where it's a little squishy, right? These are actually quite gorgeous, and they're very impactful on, and it gives you that same color of green, but it's much more intense, and it's got a little bit of shimmer to it, but it's the same color green basically. Very, very beautiful. You've got your, this is kind of that gold, very wearable gold, actually a little more wearable than the gold that's in the other one. And yeah, you may already have this one. It's another one that is very, very cheap. I will put a link to. Gives you more options. I really love this teal. Is really, it's a very dark, dark teal. This is a gorgeous color. Very natural dark teal down here with just a little bit of shimmer. And then lots of other really wearable sort of mid-tone colors. Lots of, you know, it's a very summery, but like safari summery kind of look. And it's a very easy one to wear. And it is definitely a lot cheaper than the Lisa Eldridge one. And you get a lot of the same looks out of it. And finally, I had to go with actually 2 of these Wet n Wild ones, but they're so stinking cheap that, like, you know, 2 of these equals a lot less than what you are paying for the one Lisa Eldridge, or even some of the other ones. These, you know, Wet n Wild, super cheap. And honestly, these are every bit as good as like the e.l.f. ones. These are really good. And this one is what I originally sort of gravitated to as looking most similar, but it was missing a little bit of, like it was missing that darker brown. And these are all very lightly shimmery, and I think they're really wearable and beautiful. And it's got this blue in it, whereas, you know, you've got your more browns and gold. Well, it's kind of got the gold in there too, but this one's real close. If you add this, then you kind of get everything that you were looking for. It's got sort of a Kelly green. This green is definitely, let me see. I mean, I've got the swatches up. This green is very dark and very intense, so it would be hard to use it the way that you use the Lisa Eldridge one. But if you were to go really light, you could. And I mean, this is just, in general, I love this palette for any kind of like summery, flirty, safari-ish looks. And this is just a great everyday, I mean, this just covers everything. If you're looking for a nice sort of shimmer that is good for all over the lid, this has definitely got several of those. It's not going to make up for that one, this like greenish beautiful one. They don't have that, but you might already have these, and if you're looking to make a similar look, I think you could probably do something pretty similar with those, and it doesn't cost you any money. Okay, let's move on to lips. Okay, so now let's talk about the lipsticks. These are very expensive. I didn't realize when I was ordering that these are refillable, and so part of why it was so expensive for me is because I got the full packaging for all of the ones instead of just getting refills and switching them. The reality is I'm not going to do that anyway, so I mean, you could save yourself a little bit of money by doing that. That said, I really wanted to try her formula for the lips, and you know, I've heard people talk about it forever. It's a lot of influencers who are getting PR. I love a lot of Lisa Eldridge stuff, but also I see people who are not calling out things a lot of times because they're getting stuff in PR, and it's awfully hard. Like, Lisa Eldridge is so nice. I tore up her latest skin tint. It just didn't work for me. It looked actually really quite bad. And I had just seen, the whole reason I ordered it is because her previous foundation was good. And then I saw a lot of influencers talking about and showing how absolutely beautiful that skin tint was on them. It was a really, for me, the color was not light enough, and then it was really grainy looking on me. It really just didn't hold up to a lot of the reviews, and so I don't get PR from them, and I hate to say negative stuff, but like, there's some stuff that when it's this expensive, I have to be honest, and this is why I don't get PR. But I also do really like Lisa Eldridge. Like, she refunded me right away, and her PR people were so nice and so gracious. So like, if you do have a problem with something like this, you can get your money back, and they are so nice about it. So I'm just gonna put that out there. This is 2 things that I wanted to try for myself that I had not tried before, because I think a lot of the PR goes out and people aren't necessarily 100% honest, because they either it does work for them or they just really like Lisa Eldridge and want to support her. And I understand that, because I do too. Obviously, I just spent a bunch of money. I like her and I am supporting her in that way. But I'm also going to be honest about like what I don't want people to order something and be disappointed after they spent like luxury money, right? Okay, so all of that to say, I am not disappointed with these lipsticks. They are luxury and they are very, very expensive. But I thought this was not going to work for me. This newer color, I'll put up the name. It's not on here. It was on the box and I threw the box away. So I have to put it up. But this beautiful color is, and the formula on this is so nice. That's what I'm wearing right now. It is so smooth and balmy, and I thought that this was going to be a little too orangey for me when it showed up, and no, this is a really good, it leans orangey, it's a neutral. I tend to like things with a pinker undertone than this, but that said, this is gorgeous. I'm gonna wear this all the time. Love it. Now, that said, I did find some dupes for it just because they're so expensive, and I know that a lot of people are gonna be like, I want that color. You might already have it, or you can go get it for around $10. So let me show you some other dupes for it that are real darn close, and some of them are ones that I just gotten and done lipstick videos about, so for sure you might already have these. So let's go ahead, and I'm going to show you on the side me trying the two different ones, so let's talk about each one. Okay, so this is Kiko Milano. I think these are new. The only thing I don't like about these is the packaging is weird and hard to open up if your fingers aren't like ultra dry. But this formula is just gorgeous. I'm waiting for more Amazon money to show up so that I can keep ordering more, because I have some other ones I really liked. Some of their stuff online does not show as accurate. This one is pretty accurate. So I'll do some reels or something like that showing you the good ones that I find, because there's some absolutely beautiful ones in this. But this one is a really good dupe. It's just slightly a little bit cooler, but a very similar feel and everything. And on the lips, it pretty much looks the same, as you can see. Okay, next. I love this. This is one of you, and I don't remember who it was. I'm so sorry. One of you convinced me to go check out Alone Time from MAC, and I was like, okay. This one is one of the most similar because it's super balmy and it's not super pigmented, and it really, really reminds me a lot of the formula in this. So if you already have Alone Time, you pretty much have this one. Absolutely gorgeous. The only difference is that this is a little even more balmy and a little more transparent, like just a little bit more transparent. And this one from Lisa Eldridge is it's balmy, but it's a little more opaque. That's kind of it. So good. So good. So these are some of my favorites. These new CoverGirl lipsticks, these have a great formula. Very, very balmy, more pigmented, and a little more pink undertoned than this one, but really close. If you already have this, I think this is Bamboo. This is one of my favorites. Yeah, this one's more like $10, and you're going to get the same feel as this, and a really nice formula. This is one of my top 10 favorites, this Bamboo, although now I really like this one as well. So, you know, it's expensive. Okay, and two more. This is one from Ulta. This one, again, just a little more pink undertoned, but also a really like balmy matte. It's so pretty, and the pricing is a lot better, and it's very similar. So any of those of you who went out and ordered this, which I can see on my little affiliate links, you know, I know some of you went out and got this one. You kind of already have this, so you don't need it. So there you go. And then lastly, this has a different finish, but the color ends up being sort of the same on the lips. This is definitely a very shiny. This is old school. This is one of my favorite old ones. It's 103. A lot of people have already some of the Revlon classics. This one's really close. It's just that it's got a shimmer finish versus this one, which is more balmy. It's not a shimmer. Okay. And finally, as I already said, I did not get the red one, but I did get this very dark one, which is new. This is darker than I would like it to be, so I have a little bit of regrets on getting this one. I don't think it is a color I'm going to wear a lot, although I may just blot it and, you know, but This one, I would say the formula is not as good as the lighter one. I mean, there's nothing wrong with it. I just like how balmy and easy to spread the lighter one is. This one seems a little bit more matte, and I guess that's good when it's such a dark color so it doesn't move around on your face. You don't want that. But it is also, it makes it like really dark. If you have a darker skin tone, this is great. You know, this one may be too light for you. You know, that may not be the look that you're going for. And then this is going to kind of fill in that same, you know, it's going to give you the same look, but, you know, more suited to your skin tone. It's very 90s. So along those lines of being very 90s, two ones that are not exactly dupes, but they are classic favorites that are more wearable for me. Like if you were like, well, I kind of like that, but it does look kind of dark, but I want that same feel. And it's an almost match. The Moira, this one has been one of my favorites for a long time. As you can see, it's just a little bit cooler, a little bit muddier, and a little bit more white mixed in, so it's not so dark. That makes it a lot easier for those of us who are super pale to actually wear. So this is a good dupe. And then this is an old classic Maybelline one. I love the formula on these, very, very balmy. And this one has a little more of a reddish, sort of reddish orangish mix in there. Still works with cool toned skin, but it's a little bit lighter overall, and I think a lot more wearable for to give the same kind of look as this one, but not so intense, not so overwhelming, not like black hole lips, which is kind of what this ends up being on me. So if you were curious about the lipsticks, those are the new ones, minus the red one, because like I said, I just can't spend that much money on a red that I am only going to wear maybe once or twice a year. Okay, so that's it. I think I have exhaustively gone over exactly how this performs, all the swatches. Hopefully I have given you all of the pricing, wear, dupes, everything to make the decision on whether you want to order this or not, whether you have to have this collection or not, so you know about the formula, and maybe if this is going to be worth it to add to your collection. So that's really what I'm here to do, is to just give you a full rundown so that whenever there are luxury items or items that you really have to order online and kind of, you know, take on faith, I want to give you as much like raw information as I can on how it performs, what it looks like, if it's going to work for really pale skin, give you like accurate color representations, all the things. Okay, so if you have any questions, please add them below. I am usually very active. It might take me a few days, but I try to get back to everybody. And I can do any further swatches. Maybe if you have other dupes that you know of. I know that there is a Pat McGrath one that I don't have, and those are like $125 a piece, so I'm not going to just go get it for the purpose of this. If you have other dupes recommendations for other people, go ahead and add them below, because, you know, a lot of people are going to read through and try to get, you know, a little more information if I didn't, you know, give you enough already here. If you like this kind of content and you have not already subscribed, I sure would appreciate a like and subscribe, as it really helps my channel to grow, and I really appreciate you guys being here. All right, so I think that's it. I haven't done a deep dive on a brand in a while, and I think that this finally merited one. I couldn't stop myself from hit and go on that order because I saw it online. I was like, I love those colors. It's finally time for me to give it a try. Let's see what she's got. And I gotta say, I'm not disappointed. It is not probably, unless there is a really good color story that she comes out with, I don't know that I'm going to just drop everything and go spend this kind of money again on this formula. I think it is beautiful, but it is awfully expensive, and it is not necessarily suited to the way that I like to wear my makeup. Nothing wrong with it, all very high quality, very beautiful, but it is a much more subtle formula. It is meant to be, and I think that a lot of people are going to absolutely love that, and that is what they're looking for. I am a little trashier than that, And I think I'm gonna stick to my Cosmic brushes and my Natasha Denona, which Natasha Denona is not trashy. That's actually a very, very nice subtle formula as well, but it's got, you get a little more oomph from it. So that gives you an idea what Lisa Eldridge's formula is like. And I've heard that it can vary from, you know, different palette to different palette sometimes, but at least for this palette, you are definitely somebody who wants this, I gotta say, this beautiful sort of like light green shimmer that goes around. That's one of my favorite colors in an eyeshadow. So right there, I really like that, but I have that in a lot of other palettes and formulas that I also really like. So is that enough for me to want to buy this palette? Like, would I do this again? Probably not. Honestly, this is not my kind of formula. However, I do think it is a really easy formula for others who are not as comfortable using really intense pigments to use. So that khaki, it's nice that you can wear it and you can build it up. A lot of people aren't going to want like green on their eyes. I totally get that. So do I like it? Yeah. For me, is it worth the money? Probably not for the way I wear makeup, honestly, but I will let you make your own decisions. This was pretty much exhaustively all my opinions about this at this point. So, and I've worn it for a few days now, so there you go. All right, I hope you are having a wonderful day, and I will see you in the next video.